Welcome to Kidmin Backstage, the place where we talk about kids industry and take a peek behind the scenes. We try to share a little bit of what we've learned that works for us and some of our failures so you can avoid them. We release a new episode every Friday, and this is your Backstage Pass to see the magic or disaster that happens behind the scenes of our kids ministry. I'm your host, Gabe Baker, and today I am joined by Brother Aaron Boggs.
Greetings.
How's it going?
Fantastic.
Good. Well, a little bit of a rough start, but what are we talking about today?
We are talking about what is your star rating?
What is your star rating? Mm-hmm. So today's might be kind of low, but the Michelin Star is this prestigious award. It's given to restaurants, that are like it's out of the Michelin Guide. And so it's widely recognized, highly respected, all of this thing. And so it signifies exceptional quality. It's a symbol of excellence. And it's highly sought after. Mm-hmm. And it can even, usually if a restaurant gets a Michelin star, the sales increase. I can't remember. There's some kind of percentage, but it increases astronomically. And then now it's become a thing for a chef. Mm-hmm. If a chef gets a Michelin star, then that's something that's on their resume, basically. Yeah. I got a Michelin star. And so it's a really big deal. And so in 1989, two brothers started a tire company. And then I got these facts here, so I got to read them. But then in 1900, they published this free guide for motorists with maps, tire repair info, and restaurant recommendations. And then by 1926, this became a paid guide, and the Michelin Tire Company began awarding single stars to fine dining establishments. So then in 1931, three-star ratings were introduced. 1 star meant it was a very good restaurant. 2 meant it was excellent cooking and worth a detour on your trip. So these are road trips. Mm-hmm. And then 3 was this is exceptional cuisine and is worth a special trip, a special journey just to go. Okay, so then in 1936, they published the criteria for the star rating. So it obviously caught on and it became a big deal, even back in 1936. And so here's the criteria, and this is what we're going to kind of talk about today. But number 1 was high-quality ingredients. Number 2 was mastery of flavor blending. Number 3, technique and skill. Number 4, chef's personality. And number 5, consistency. And so
Gotta preach.
Yes, and so I thought I was trying to think of another title, something about Michelin Star. One I thought of, it's too long, but I thought of what if your Sunday school was getting a Michelin star, or something like that. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of what we're gonna just kind of cover some of these, criteria that they have.
Michelin ministry.
Ooh, that's good.
Hey. Yeah, it's when I was reading over the synopsis of this podcast, it brought to mind the pretty common scripture in Ecclesiastes. It talks about whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with might.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
And, this is probably going to be covered here in a moment, but I believe anything that we do for God should be done with excellence.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're going to talk all the way to number 5, but consistency is huge. Just being the same day in and day out, but giving it your all, doing it with might, doing it with your strength, your passion, your heart, every single time.
Every single time, yeah.
And
that's the tough part too, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But that's the hard part. It's a little easier to get all gung ho and do one project.
Oh yeah.
But to do a ministry, over and over
for 15 years, for 20 years.
Yeah. So number 1 is the Michelin Star rating has high quality ingredients, and so I put the analogy there is your people are your foundation. And so to have exceptional Sunday school that's next level, you have to have exceptional people.
Yeah.
And the thing is we in the church world, now I think that this dynamic changes the larger your church becomes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what that number is.
Yeah.
But it does change somewhere to where, there was a time when our church, it was it wasn't literally like this, but it was almost like we were begging people to sing, like we need more,
we need singers.
especially tenors or whatever, we need more guys or whatever. And so now it's not that way. It's more of, I don't know that we necessarily have a tryout system, but it's almost like that. It's like,
it's
you want to sing? Well, are you any good?
Yeah. you gotta have some ability.
Yeah.
So you do have to be not picky, but you do want to bring people that are going to bring these 5 things to your team, right?
Yeah.
You want to have somebody that's going to be an asset, somebody that's going to be consistent. And we've had people in Sunday school that always late, they can't be there today, and you're going to find that, but you want to have people that you can count on.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. And the thing is one thing we know, and this dynamic changes also in churches, is you can't just expect right out of the gates, like, okay, I want the best people, they don't have any of these qualities. Well, there's nobody. Mm-hmm. and so we know that there's a limited pool to recruit from. But I think that sometimes, we talk often about getting the right people on the bus, which is kind of from Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. But I think that sometimes we might look for the wrong qualities, myself included.
Sure.
We look for, they're really funny.
Yeah.
They would be good in Sunday school. They would be really funny. Or they could sing, and we need more singers in Sunday school. Or, they're a good actor, or whatever. And we look at these qualities, or even, now this one could throw us off. Even, man, they pray really good. They're good at praying with people. We want them in Sunday school.
Yeah.
So all of these qualities are definitely qualities we want. We want good singers. We want good actors. We want people that are funny. We want all of these things. Mm-hmm. But the key is really getting the right people on the bus, the people that are going to be committed, that want to be a part of what you're doing, and they have a passion for it, because you can develop all those other things.
That's where I was going. You can develop that. They might have one of those things, or might have just a really good, I'd rather have somebody with a really good spirit that's pliable and teachable, and can't sing, that's not very good at acting, but they're great behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you want to have somebody that's pliable.
Yeah. Well, and so I'm going to call somebody out.
Oh, boy.
Krista on our team.
Yeah.
So she's really new. And now we may fire her tomorrow. So
it's
this,
possible.
that could change in this podcast. This podcast doesn't air right away, so who knows what will happen. But no, I think she's going to do good. Mm-hmm. But she wanted to be in Sunday school and everything. And so I'm actually kind of experimenting with her. I'm teaching her a bunch of the different roles. We have all kinds of roles in Sunday school. So, but her attitude was, like, what I asked her is, so what is it that you want to do? What is it you're interested in? And her attitude was anything, anywhere you need me. I just want to be involved. I just want to be in it.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. And so that's I was like, I can work with that.
Absolutely.
But then on the other side of it, and I know we're a little behind on the thing there, but, it's not flipping automatically, is it? We'll have to use our paper.
We're in trouble now.
So the other side of it, though, is, especially if you're a larger church and you do have high quality people, I think sometimes Sunday school might get the bottom of the barrel, so to speak.
Sure.
And there's all kinds of dynamics, all kinds of reasons for that. But if you create an environment where high caliber people want to be involved, if you create an environment that's like, what is happening over there?
Yeah.
Then that's what, what I used to say, you do big things, you attract big people.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about fat people.
Thank God. Well,
it could be them too. It could be them too.
True.
It's not over till the fat lady sings. So, but no, but if you do big things, if you do high caliber things, you're going to get high caliber people. They want to be involved.
Yep.
If you do little things and you're just kind of piddling around over here in the corner, well, you're not going to really attract,
the people you want.
Yeah. It's kind of like the saying, If you want to get something done, find somebody that's busy.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing. If
Very
you want to
true.
do something, if you want cool people, do something cool.
Yeah, be cool.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay. Oh, it did go.
It did. It was just a little late. Weirdly.
Oh, there's a. Okay, I see what's happening. Is I changed the time because we had more points, but it's got a. It's not the same. The timer's not the same as the auto.
Oh, I see.
Advance.
Gotcha.
Technical difficulties on the podcast.
This won't be an hour and a half podcast. Thankfully, now we're in trouble there.
All right. So number 2, mastery of flavor blending. And I thought that was kind of interesting, actually. Mastery of flavor blending, because you can have, you can eat like a gumbo dish from one person and then from another, and it can be totally different.
And they're
like,
the same family. We have that in our church.
Oh, really? Yeah. Like one could be like
I have
really
my favorite.
spicy and got a bite to it. And another one could be, maybe it's still good, but it's not spicy at all.
Right.
Or yeah. So
that's very true.
So I put the art of keeping things interesting.
Yes.
And so I remember a long time ago, your brother and I, Brother Joey Boggs, and I were talking, and we were we were brainstorming ideas on like themes and stories and stuff. And so we were talking about all kinds of themes, and he mentioned Darian's Rise from Focus on the Family, and it's kind of loosely based on David, I think, or something. Yeah. And so he was like, "Oh, this would be a cool story." And I hadn't heard it. Still don't know if I've listened to the whole thing, but I've heard bits and pieces. But anyway, so I was like, "Hold on." I said, "We're trying to come up with these like stories, and if we do something like that, and I'm not saying that we might even do it someday, but
sure.
I was like, we have a book full of stories, that are awesome, the Bible. And so we have the highest quality curriculum, which is the Bible. And so I think the key is don't let it be flavorless and bland. And this is why we do all of our skits and costumes and props and even our big sets. Yeah. That's why.
Absolutely.
We feel like, and I know not everybody can do the same we do, but this is why we do what we do. We feel like it's the Bible. Let's show how cool and awesome and incredible the Bible is.
Absolutely.
And make these kids interested in it. We don't want it to be like most of our the church kids, and maybe even some kids that come on the bus, but most of our church kids, if it's a choice between some story, Jack and the Beanstalk, or a Bible story, they're going to prefer the Bible story because that's how they've been raised up. Bible stories are awesome.
Absolutely.
And that's what they play at home. I mean, that's what my son plays at home. Is he plays Bible stories. Yeah. I mean, he plays other, like he'll play police and SWAT and stuff, but it's not a story. It's like a theme for him,
Right.
But when and then what happens is he has friends over and they'll integrate a Bible story into their theme.
That's how it's supposed to be. I mean, I was kind of on the opposite side. So growing up, me and a little something. If anybody knows my brother, you can dig at him a little bit. We were super late bloomers. We would like play cowboys and Indians at like 14 on our bicycles.
I don't know. I think Brother Jason Ashley, he's older than both of us, and he still plays cowboys, I think.
Hey, well, there you go. I might have to open that toy box. But yeah, so we're super late bloomers. So we played cowboys and Indians, the cops and robbers, and we didn't really do Bible stories. We knew them. We had, comic book Bibles. We had Odyssey. Yeah. We had your story hour, but we didn't have that culture that we have now.
Yeah, we didn't have this kind of Sunday school.
It was classroom style, felt Jesus and all that, and it was great. I mean, we learned a lot, but that was the best we had at the time. But we got to this level, like you said, your kids and my kids, they know Bible stories. Like I really think about your two children specifically when they were younger, and then like Shaylee and Logan. You guys pump that into them, and they know so much about the Bible. Yeah, it's funny. Like I remember at youth, we would be doing Bible quizzing or whatever. Not Bible quizzing like the Bible quizzing, but like trivia. A game. Yeah, Bible trivia or whatever. And I mean, Anisha and Adrian were like always number one.
They were kids, and they would be like, "Oh, you're on our team. You're on our team." They're like they're just there because we're the youth leaders. Yeah. So they're like, "Yeah, you could over here." That's kind of funny. Mm-hmm. So the other thing is the old quote that. Of course, you've been around me long enough. I hate this, but We've always done it this way.
You got to say it with an accent, like an old person.
We've always done it this way.
That's right.
We've always done it this way, and that should not be the criteria for how you operate Sunday school. It's fine if you have always done it this way.
Yeah.
That's okay. But that shouldn't be the reason. Mm-hmm. That shouldn't be the criteria of why you do it this way. No. Just because we've always done it this way.
Yeah.
What is the reason? Know why.
Well, the Bible is alive. If you go back to we have the greatest curriculum, like, it's alive. And I remember, you've heard it too. I remember Elder Burgess making a statement that as a child blew my mind, because I thought he had all the knowledge you could ever have of the Bible. He's been in church 50-something years, been preaching for a majority of that. And I remember him saying many times I was reading the Bible today, or I was studying it the other day, and I read the scripture numerous times, and I saw something new today.
Yeah.
And it just came out, and it's a brand new message, brand new thought.
So good, yes.
After all these years, and it's alive.
Yeah, it's alive. And what happens is we hear, what's the saying? There's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
And so we hear things, and even like I read a massive amount of material, and sometimes I reread stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, I have some books that I reread pretty much kind of annually or every 18 months, just on purpose.
Yeah.
And so, I find stuff that kind of stands out differently.
Yes.
And so much the more with the Bible, and it's because we grow as people, society changes.
Yes.
So our lens, our viewpoint changes, and then not to water down this part either, is God speaks to us in different ways through His Word, and
Very true.
You read it. I was just in the chat, one of the chats I'm in. Brother Julian Estrada, last year, I think, he read the Bible through 4 times.
Right.
And so you think about that, and that's awesome. It's incredible. And he could probably testify that, it's like, well, what's the point? Well, because it's always, he's reading it again. I think he's already read it through once this year, and he's working on, another time. So you constantly, I like what you said, that you find new stuff all the time.
Always.
And so, if you've always done it this way, make sure there's a reason why you've always done it this way before you just hang your hat on that.
Absolutely.
Number 3, technique and skill. So this is the third Michelin, or the third criteria for the Michelin Star. So for us, it's operational excellence as leadership discipline. And so I wrote this because in Sunday school, charisma can play a big part. And we're not talking about being charismatic in the religious sense, but being charismatic as a personality.
Yeah.
So I put some people naturally have more charisma than others, but we need a path or a system or something of development for ourselves and for our team to help us connect with kids and to operate at a high level.
Yeah.
And so I think bringing up Krista again.
Yeah.
Today she did a really good job. We had her a few weeks ago. She was sweet, innocent JL.
Yes.
And then we turned her into Jezebel.
Yes.
so she's getting the full spectrum. And she did a good job today, but she did this sassy little line,
Yeah.
And but the thing is, you couldn't hear because she didn't have a mic.
Yeah.
And so I told her, I said, next week, I don't know if she'll have the main acting role, but she needs a mic.
Yeah.
And so I said, I want you to get used to speaking in the mic, because it is different,
It is.
I think we take it for granted. You're in the mic, almost every service.
Yeah, it's natural.
And I'm in the mic a lot. And so, we don't think about it, but some people, they're scared to death of it. They're like, get that thing away from me,
Yeah. Well, I didn't have a mic today, so that's why I'm talking in the basement, because if I try to talk any higher, it's gone. I tend
screaming.
to get, I get a little nutty in Sunday school, and I scream and holler, and then I lose my voice, so.
Yeah. It's all
No,
for
that's
the kingdom.
true. I know. It's true. I know of people, one person that always comes to mind when I think about this is there's some people, their personalities just attract people. And I always think of Austin Clark. We grew up together, coming to youth conferences, and I spent time at his house and had cow patty fights, and that was incredible. But he's just one of those people that just is so positive. Maybe behind closed doors he's not, but he just, I'm sure he is, but he's always positive, always smiling, always excited about life, about everything he does.
He's just always excited.
And that attracts people. And I'm not saying you have to change who you are, because not everybody's wired that way, but there is value to that of having that personality to where people want to be around you, kids want to be around you, other leaders want to be around you, and it just creates the path of development for ourselves just to be better.
Well, and in that path or system, or however we want to say it, it always comes back to culture. Mm-hmm. If we have a culture, like you said, we don't want fake personalities, but if we have a culture of where this is valued,
yes,
connection is valued, and where being approachable and open with the kids and stuff, and if that's valued, then if somebody doesn't have those leanings and their personality is different, at least the culture is there, and so they might start to lean differently, or change a little bit. It's kind of like somebody could be kind of be grumpy, that's their disposition. Yeah. But yet, if they're the right person on the bus and you start developing them and you have this culture in place, then it could change. And they might still be grumpy when they step out of Sunday school, but
but here,
it's
very true.
Yeah. And so the other thing I put and this is with technique and skill, is we talk about cutting edge all the time, and I think we should be cutting edge. But I think that with that cutting edge, we need to look at the fundamentals of what we do. So, there are things that we do, and not that we have it all together at all by any means, but there's some things we do that others might point at and say, that's so cool, that's so awesome. Like we do these big, huge sets and everything. The decor is over the top. We do a lot of big acting scenes. And I would say to somebody that's striving maybe to go to the next level, if they're not doing that and they want to, or even if they don't want to, is it the fundamentals, meaning connecting with kids, the altar service. If you don't have an altar service in your Sunday school, you should.
Absolutely.
That's one of those non-negotiables that we just think
what happened last week?
Oh, yeah. We had 3 kids get the Holy Ghost. Yeah.
There you go.
So you need to have an altar service, and sometimes that sounds intimidating. You might have a class of 5 kids, and altar service sounds a little bit over the top, but even if you just call it
prayer meeting,
response to lesson prayer, prayer meeting, So there's some non-negotiables, and if you can get those fundamentals, and I think even at our level, wherever that is, but what we do, like I've been working on that list, of getting us better, and that's taking a step back. And I'm probably stomping on some notes. I just remembered I wrote something about this, but it's taking a step back and saying, how are we doing on fundamentals? Like you think of basketball, doing the flashy spin around dunk. That's cool, and keep doing it. Have it. It's there, but where's the fundamentals? Can you still shoot the 3-pointer?
Exactly. Can you still guard?
Yeah. And so that's one of the ways to have that technical skill, I guess.
Absolutely.
Okay. Number 4, chef's personality. Isn't that interesting that they put that in the star rating?
Yeah.
So chef's personality. And so for us, we put authentic leadership vision. And this is something, this next point is something that I think still struggle with, but I struggled with this for a while. And I think I read something by Brother Nathaniel Wilson on leadership that kind of opened my eyes a little bit on this, but I'll just mention the point is a true leader must have the courage to make decisions that reflect our values, our biblical values and vision, even when they're unpopular or unconventional.
Yeah. It's huge.
It is huge because as a leader, we want to be liked, and I feel like it is a necessary ingredient to be liked at least a little bit.
Sure.
You don't have to be the gregarious, charismatic, popular guy to be a leader at all. There's quiet leaders, and everything, but people can't just like dislike you.
Right.
You know, if your personality is a turnoff, you're gonna have a hard time.
Yes.
No matter how good you are.
Absolutely.
And so we want to be liked, and so where the problem comes in is where we want to be liked so much that we hold back.
Yeah.
And this is where I still struggle with this. Like, it's hard to like somebody is you like them too, and they're doing something that's just not working.
Yeah.
And you had to sit down and have that hard conversation.
That's a hard one. Yep.
And say, hey, you know, in order for us to be way better, we got to sit down. We got to have this hard conversation.
Yeah.
Or you got to make decisions that people. It's not popular. People are not going to like it. You know. In fact, okay, here's an example. I kind of pre-made this decision today.
Oh boy.
Okay, so
you're hearing it first.
Right here. Firsthand, right here. So we were talking about some. You know, again, we're trying to improve issues, and so we were having some issues at Snack, and so I was talking about different things and improving it and everything. And then I said, you know what? We did this years ago, or, well, not real long ago, but we've done this. And I said, and actually, now that I think about it, we need to do this regardless of whether we're trying to fix something or not. Is we would, for our snack time, we split into groups, small groups,
remember that.
And had staff with each group sitting down and just talking. And we're talking like 3 or 4 minutes. I mean, it's really short. Snack time is short in our Sunday school. And so, but I know of at least one, but I know of more than one that hates that.
I hate it.
But we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's an unpopular decision. Yep. And to give credit, that person that hates it, they will do it, and they'll do a good job.
And they will.
They just don't like doing it.
Yeah.
But so anyway, there's things like that where it's like, okay, this is the right path to go, but it's not popular. And so sometimes it's hard to say.
It is difficult.
I'm gonna do it.
It's hard to do that. It's very true.
And then the other thing is leaders must develop a clear point of view about what we stand for and why it matters. This is something I've been trying to do, to reiterate. You never show up for practice because
I'm a workaholic.
Because you're working all the time. But I've been mentioning this in practice a little bit, and trying to mention it even backstage some with that list, is just why, you know, what we do matters. And so, like, why, how do I explain it? Like, okay, so a couple weeks ago, we had a bunch of guests. We had a lot of guests. We had a lot of kids, but we had a lot of guests. And so I just quickly mentioned, I don't know if you were in here or not, but I said, hey, it was just backstage. Not everybody was back there, but just the ones that were. I said, hey, we have a lot of guests today. A lot of kids that came on the bus today. And I said, and we want them.
Yeah.
Now that sounds basic, but I said, I just wanted to remind.
Yeah.
Because invariably, you have a lot of guests like that. It's not going to be just perfect little angels folding their hands in their seats. No. I said, so we have a lot of guests, and we want them.
Yeah.
Remember that when you go out there, it's going to be messy. It's going to be chaotic. We want them here.
Yeah.
That's why we do what we do.
Well, yeah, I think that's true because, like, we have staff that, you know, they do acting, they do all kinds of stuff. We have staff that are like, okay, when something's going on stage, you're sitting out with the kids and kind of keeping an eye on things,
right,
and make sure kids aren't, you know, laying down and running around. And we have some that their intentions are right because they want to keep things orderly and keep things in line, but we have some that are like, my God, the kid like turns his head sideways one time and it's like, off with his head. Rip him out, kick him out of Sunday school, and all they did was turn their head, 15 degrees. And so I think it might have been during that, you got to be careful, especially with new children, because that might scare them off.
Oh yeah.
But we still got to have
order,
a little bit of order.
Yeah,
but
a little bit of order.
Your approach is important.
I just realized what time it is, and we have got to wrap up.
Boy.
We got to go. So, the last Michelin criteria on the Michelin Star is consistency, and I know this to be true because I've talked about. I always throw Applebee's under the bus, and I like Applebee's, but I don't go there very often. But sometimes I get a steak there, and I have had a really good steak at Applebee's once in a while.
Yeah.
Now I don't go there very often, but when I do, and I get a steak, it's hit and miss. So I always ask for the sauce, the A1 sauce or whatever, because I don't. And but like in the last 10 years, probably 3 times I've had a really good steak there. Whereas you go to somewhere else that's high end, Ruth's Chris or something,
yeah, what
and it's always good.
Yeah,
it's always going to be good. And so consistency, and I put the foundation of trust and excellence. And oh man, we're gonna have to blow through this. So maintaining excellence week after week, theme after theme, year after year. This requires systems, discipline, and intentionality.
Absolutely.
We have to be intentional
in everything. Because
if we're not intentional, it won't happen. It doesn't happen by accident. Like, okay, we got these things set in place and let's just roll on. No, you have to be intentional.
Yeah, week in, week out.
Yeah, and you have to revisit it. And
Absolutely.
so I put, it's more than a mission statement hanging on a wall backstage. It's about demonstrating this through our actions, our decisions that we make every week, the things that we do. And this is easy for me to look at the big, broad scope and say, like, well, today was, but no, today matters. Today makes a difference.
Absolutely. So. Very true.
Okay, you're going to have to run to the next thing here because we went over
slap
time.
Out of time. Where did the time go?
Yeah. Really quick, just to hit a few. I don't have the podcast list there, so maybe we won't hit them this week. But you can check us out on YouTube if you're listening. We're at Gabe-Baker on YouTube or Kid Backstage. And then there's some other podcasts that we mention all the time that are good to go listen to. So with that, that's a wrap.
That's it. The end.
All right.